And we're going to go through 3 steps in landing that first job. The first is narrowing the field, helping you figure out where you want to look. The second is getting an interview. And the third is actually controlling that interview. So let's get started. Narrowing the field. Most of you don't have the luxury that some very lucky people have, and that is you don't quite know what you want to do. Some of us grow up and we knew we always wanted to be nuclear physicists or doctors or dentists or firemen, but most of us didn't quite know. And I talked to a lot of young people today who have finished their college degree or their master's program, and they still don't have a clue. And sometimes it's because they have so many skills. I was with a young woman the other day from Harvard who has an undergraduate degree in engineering, a graduate degree in environmental science, but loves to write. She could do so many different things. And so I want to talk a little bit about narrowing the field. We start with those folks who haven't got a clue. And again, don't feel badly if you haven't got a clue, because a lot of people just don't. And so we're going to figure out how to take from I don't have a clue down to certain fields that are interesting to me, down to certain organizations and corporations in that field that make sense for me. So to try to narrow that field, try to get down from I really haven't got an idea where I want to start down to some fields that interest you, I like to ask people the following question. Let's pretend it's Sunday night and you are so looking forward to work tomorrow. You cannot wait to go to work tomorrow, because tomorrow you're going to get to do all the things that you really like to do, or perhaps just the one thing that you really like to do. And so think about, what is Monday? What does Monday look like? Are you selling? Are you researching? Are you working individually? Are you working with a team? Are you starting a new project? Are you finishing a project? Is it a creative effort? Is it a managerial effort? What's going on Monday that you so look forward to on Sunday night? And think hard about that, because what you love is probably what you're going to do best. And figuring out what you love to do is a really good omen for the kind of things that you really like to do as a career. The other thing to help you think through that process is to look back in your life and ask yourself about a day that you really were great. Think about a day when you really nailed it. You came home from whatever you were doing that day or that evening, and you said, man, today was a great day. Today, I really distinguished myself. I really did something that hardly any other person can do, or that I've never done quite as well as this. And think about that fabulous day that you had, and what was the part of it? What were the pieces of it? What skills were you using? What areas were you focused on? And that'll help you think about the fields that might be interesting to you. The next thing you have to do to narrow the field is you got to talk to a lot of people. Because remember, this is not a trivial pursuit, getting your first job. This is a business. This is not a job search. Think of it as a business. And if you were starting a business with a one-product company, and the product is you'd be talking to the marketplace. You'd be trying to figure out who might be interested in buying my product. In this case, your product is you. The complicated thing is you are not just one thing. You have many skills, many features, many facets, all of which can be sold into the marketplace. And so you got to do some research. You got to do some fundamental market research. And I recommend you talk to 50 people. Why 50? Because it's a lot, but it's not too much. And you should be thinking about a 2 or 3 month process for getting this first job. So you've got some time. You haven't got a ton of time, but you've got some time. So I want you to talk to 50 people. Friends, neighbors, parents of friends, alums from your university, faculty, trying to narrow the field, trying to think back to that Monday that you'd love to be doing, and talking to people who are professionals, who are in the world, trying to get a sense for what the different fields are that you could consider, and start to eliminate some fields, some things that just don't interest you. And knocking fields out is just as important as recommending fields that you're going to go forward with. So talk to those 50 people, and in the course of those conversations, there's not going to be 50 people lined up out there waiting to spend an hour of their time with you. You might have a friend of the family, you might have a faculty member. The purpose in that visit with that person is, first of all, to pick their brain about the kind of things that you're interested in and what fields they're aware of that might fit those interests, but also to meet 3 more people. And so you don't want to walk away from that meeting with just one conversation. You want to walk away with the benefits of that one conversation, but 3 introductions to other people in those fields that that person will introduce you to. So if you meet with 7 or 8 people that you're close to, and you got 3 leads from each one of those, now you're up to 24, and you get 3 from each of those, you're up to 75 people. And that's a pretty good sample size, or a pretty good research group to start to narrow the field for what you're going to do in that very first job. There are also some tests that can be taken, and you can go online and identify the test. Myers-Briggs is a very popular test. Rasmussen has a test. There are some aptitude tests that you can take, which don't necessarily help you decide precisely what to do, but they can certainly help you eliminate things. When my daughter got out of college, she had a degree in communication. She just sort of took it because it wasn't anything. It was non-committal. And she didn't have a clue what she wanted to do. And she started taking tests. And she took about 3 different tests, Myers-Briggs and 2 others. And every single one of those tests came back farmer. Farmer. We live in Wellesley. I mean, what are you talking about? Farmer. And it turns out that this girl really liked being outside. She really liked being around animals. I've never forgot one year I asked her what she wanted for Christmas, and it was a pitchfork. And I should have put the farmer thing together by then, but I hadn't. And guess what? She went on to to go to Tufts to get a degree in animal science. And she now works at the Animal Rescue League, and she lives on a farm in Hopkinton and with her horses, and she's the happiest camper in the world. So these tests can be helpful, perhaps not the precision exactly what you're going to do, but to certainly eliminate some things. There are also career counselors. They're obviously more expensive. You can spend thousands of dollars with career counselors, and fundamentally they'll put you through those same kind of tests, but perhaps help you out with the interpretation. Obviously, online research is a very easy way for you to think about careers, and there's just you can spend hours and hours just going through websites, but it's there, and it's so much easier than the old days of going to the library or trying to find books on this subject. It's all out there, and so this research, it might take 2, 3, 4 weeks, but it's really fundamental to get down into that cone a little bit, so that you're no longer looking at every single listing on Monster.com. Now you're starting to focus on those listings that make the most sense for you. What you're fundamentally trying to do in this first phase of narrowing the field is to find a good match. Find something that's a pretty good match between what you love and who needs you. Because at the end of the day, they're going to decide whether they're going to hire you or not. And it's not what's in it for you, it's what's in it for them. So as a business person, this business of finding yourself a job, you have to ask the classic question that every business asks: what am I selling to whom? What part of me am I selling to what audience? Who's my target audience? Who's likely to need what I need? I'll never know you as well as you know you. No one will ever know you as well as you know you. So you know those skills, and you know what things someone should be willing to pay you to do. And fundamentally, it's what's good for them, not what's good for you. But if you can get that match between what you love versus what they need, you're off to a great start in narrowing the field. Just to summarize this whole narrowing the field from the point of I haven't got a clue what to do to the point of certain fields that are interesting. The last thing we're going to do, and I'll talk about this in the next section, is we're now going to narrow it down to certain organizations that seem to fit what you love and might have an interest in what you know how to do.